To save her own life, Sasha dropped her husband to his death. But when she falls into the clutches of a sadistic cannibal, a heart-pounding battle for survival begins. Fighting through raging river currents and scaling deadly cliffs, can Sasha survive this flesh-eating monster, or will she become his next meal? Stay tuned until the very end to find out. The story begins with an adrenaline-fueled couple, Sasha and her husband Tommy, both deeply obsessed with extreme rock climbing challenges. Their current target? A brutal, near-vertical cliffside in the freezing terrains of Norway. A peak so notoriously unforgiving that while Tommy has managed to conquer it once, Sasha has repeatedly failed. Now, it has become her absolute obsession. Equipped with top-tier safety gear and a specialized suspended portal-edge tent to rest mid-mountain without retreating, Sasha begins her ascent at dawn. But like clockwork, she hits the exact same bottleneck, losing her grip and dangling over the abyss. Tommy urges her to take a break, but her stubbornness blinds her. A massive storm is rolling in, clouding her judgment. Finally, after heavy convincing, Tommy gets her into the hanging tent to wait out the tempest, hoping to resume once the weather clears. Sasha reluctantly agrees, her obsession burning hot, while Tommy is gripped by a sudden, chilling dread. Looking at his lucky compass, a horrifying premonition hits him. This might be their final climb. Shaking off the dark thoughts, reality hits. The storm turns violently feral, tossing their suspended tent like a leaf. Realizing staying up here is a death sentence, Tommy desperately convinces a hesitant Sasha that the mountain isn't going anywhere, promising to personally pull her back up to this exact spot tomorrow to save her energy. They tear down the camp and begin a treacherous, pitch-black descent through howling winds. That's when disaster strikes. The mountain begins to fracture, raining massive boulders down upon them. Terrified, Tommy yells for Sasha to drop first. She manages to scramble under a massive rock overhang for cover, but Tommy isn't so lucky. A barrage of heavy rocks smashes into him, knocking him off balance and sending him plummeting into the void. His lifeline is now anchored solely by Sasha's grip. Holding her own safety rope with one hand and Tommy's dead weight with the other, she faces an impossible choice. If she holds on, the oncoming rockfall will smash her off the wall, killing them both. Tommy is completely unresponsive. She has no idea if he is already dead or just unconscious. With only seconds to decide between certain death or survival, she makes the agonizing choice to cut him loose. Tommy plunges into the darkness, and his story ends right there. The sudden snap of the rope ruptures Sasha's own harness, nearly sending her over the edge, but she frantically grips the bare rock to save herself. Flash forward 5 months later. Sasha is back home, hollowed out by crippling survivor's guilt, convinced she murdered her husband. She has completely abandoned climbing, but the trauma won't let her live. Desperate to outrun her demons, she plans a solo journey into a dense, isolated wilderness to forge new memories that aren't stained by Tommy's ghost, though his lucky compass never leaves her side. At the edge of the forest, a local ranger gives her a stern warning, showing her posters of missing hikers and warning her of lethal predators and people who go in but never come out. Stubborn as always, Sasha signs the registry and drives off anyway. Stopping at a remote convenience store for supplies, she finds herself harassed by 2 aggressive locals. Enter Ben, a rugged delivery man dropping off packs of jerky. He intimidatingly scares the thugs away, and as a thank you, Sasha buys his entire stock of dried meat, perfect survival rations for her trip. But as she gets back into her car, she notices her GPS has suddenly gone completely dead. Spotting her frustration from his truck, Ben walks over, hears her dilemma, and hands her a physical road map of the dense forest ahead. Ben traces out 2 distinct paths on the physical map. The first is a straightforward, quick route to her destination, safe and utterly boring. The second is long, grueling, and dangerous, but packed with breathtaking views and raw adventure. Ben leaves the ball in her court, smiling as he says, "Your choice." Driven by her innate craving for adrenaline, Sasha thanks him and chooses the scenic, treacherous route. When night falls, she sets up camp by the roadside, but her peace is short-lived. The 2 creeps from the convenience store track her down. Reacting quickly, Sasha retreats into her car and locks the doors. Refusing to engage or give them a reaction, she waits them out until the thugs grow bored and leave, finally allowing her a few hours of restless sleep. At daybreak, she launches a small inflatable boat into the river, eager for the isolation of the water. But as she rows further into the wilderness and pulls up to a remote shoreline, the atmosphere shifts from serene to sinister. Scattered across the riverbank is abandoned gear, Backpacks, clothes, and personal photos matching the exact faces from the missing person posters at the ranger station. Shaking off the creeping dread, she rationalizes the eerie sight, sets up her tent, and collapses from exhaustion. Hours later, a jarring rustle snaps her awake. Someone or something is outside. Peeking out, she catches a glimpse of a shadow vanishing into the trees with her backpack. Panicked, she turns to grab her remaining gear inside the tent, only to freeze in horror. A massive, lethal snake is coiled right over her belongings. Left with no choice and no gear, she flees to her boat and pushes back out onto the water, desperate for a way out. Further down the river, she spots an old campsite. Realizing she can't survive the night without supplies, she docks, hoping to find help. Relief washes over her when she recognizes the camp's owner. It's Ben. He welcomes her with a warm, disarming smile, telling her not to worry. When a rattled Sasha explains that someone stole her bag, Ben smoothly dismisses it, blaming a wild animal. He grills some fresh fish, and as they eat, he casually asks how long she's been into hiking. Sasha plays dumb, keeping her past as an elite mountain climber a secret. But the temperature drops when Ben casually reveals he already knows all about her climbing background. Suddenly, the pieces of a terrifying puzzle begin to fall into place. Ben knows too much. The GPS mysteriously frying the second he approached her car. The deliberate push toward the dangerous, isolated route. The abandoned belongings of missing hikers. It wasn't a coincidence, it was a trap. Before she can process the sheer terror, Ben walks out and dumps her stolen backpack right at her feet. The mask is off. Smiling coldly, he brings out a heavy combat crossbow and flips on a portable speaker, blasting a countdown track. "You have until this song ends to run as far as you can," Ben says, his voice dripping with sadistic pleasure. "I'm going to hunt you down. This is my absolute favorite game. I even left some supplies in your bag, you're going to need them." Sasha grabs the bag and bolts into the blinding panic of the woods. She scrambles back into her boat, paddling frantically, but disoriented by fear, she takes a wrong turn down a rapid current. Before she can react, the boat plunges over a massive, roaring waterfall. The impact violently separates her from the boat, smashing her body against the rocks. Battered and bleeding, Sasha drags herself out of the water. She quickly changes into dry clothes from her pack, but before she can run, the desperate cries of a family echo through the trees. Following the sound, she stumbles upon a clearing, only to find a cell phone rigged to a tree, playing a looping video of a terrified family. It was the same family from the missing posters, lured to this very riverbank, trapped and slaughtered by Ben. It's a decoy. An instant later, a sharp thwack cuts through the air. Ben is perched high on the ridge, aiming down at her. Sasha ducks just in time as a crossbow bolt pierces the bark right where her head was. Realizing he has the high ground, she flees through the brush as Ben relentlessly rains down arrows from the cliffs above. She zigzags through the terrain, desperately searching for cover, but she isn't fast enough. Ben's final bolt tears straight through her leg. Sasha screams, collapsing into the dirt. Screaming in agony and unable to find her footing, she loses her balance on the steep edge and tumbles helplessly off the cliffside, plunging headfirst into a rushing, rock-filled river below. The violent current sweeps her away, violently slamming her head against a massive boulder, knocking her cold into the dark water. Survival instinct overrides the blinding pain as she drags her mangled body out of the violent, crushing current and collapses onto the muddy riverbank. In her hand, she's still clutching Ben's phone. A lifeline, or so she thinks. But luck isn't on her side. The device is completely shattered and dead. Refusing to succumb to panic, she takes a brief, agonizing moment to catch her breath, force down some rations, and change into dry clothes. She has to keep moving. Ben is still out there and he's closing in. She flees into a claustrophobic canyon, wedged between towering rock faces. Realizing she's a sitting duck from above, Sasha shifts tactics. Instead of running low where Ben holds the high ground advantage, she uses her elite climbing skills to scale the rock wall, leveling the playing field. Pulling out her binoculars, she spots her abandoned inflatable boat in the distance. And then, she sees him. Ben is chillingly close. He knows this wilderness like the back of his hand, seamlessly using hidden shortcuts to cut her off at every turn. Before she can map out an escape route, Ben locks eyes with her. Panicked, Sasha drops her binoculars, but instead of running, she plays it smart. She slips into a deep crevice under a massive boulder, holding her breath as Ben hunts nearby. He misses her, and for now, she lives to see another hour. Once the coast is clear, Sasha hatches a desperate plan. She stalks her way back to Ben's own campsite, betting that the last place a hunter looks is his own home. But what she finds inside leaves her stunned. Ben is completely relaxed, taking a slow, unbothered bath in the river. He isn't rushing because he knows she has nowhere to run. Moving like a ghost, Sasha slips into the water, inching toward his motorized boat to steal it. But just as she reaches out, the trap snaps shut. It was all a setup. Ben anticipated her psychological play, knowing prey often flees to the hunter's den, and had rigged the water with a heavy netting trap. As Sasha thrashes violently in the net, Ben calmly pulls the rope, dragging her out of the water. Thinking fast, Sasha whips out a can of pepper spray from her bag and blasts it directly into his eyes, breaking free. But Ben recovers with terrifying speed. He lunges, grabbing her restraint rope again. Sasha aims the spray a second time, but stops dead in her tracks. Ben is already staring her down through the sight of his combat crossbow. "Drop it," he commands coldly. With no cards left to play, she complies. But instead of pulling the trigger, Ben releases her from the trap. Confused and terrified by his mercy, Sasha demands, "What is this? Is this some sick game to you?" Ben lets out a dark, mocking laugh. "This isn't a game, Sasha. It's a ritual." He drags her to a massive tree, binding her hands and feet tightly to the trunk. "Look around. You chose this. I gave you two paths on that map, the safe one and the hard one. You let your ego pick the dangerous route. If you had taken the easy way, you'd be safe at your destination, and I wouldn't have touched you. You walked into my jaws all by yourself." He leaves her tied up through a grueling, torrential night, mocking her as she shivers and burns up with a sudden, raging fever. When she begs for mercy, Ben is unmoved. "The ritual demands it," he whispers. "The ritual reminds me of who I am. I belong to an ancient lineage. We endure unimaginable pain to become the ultimate predators. We sharpen our teeth to the bone so we can tear through our prey effortlessly." The horrific truth hits Sasha like a physical blow. She isn't just being hunted by a killer. She has been captured by a cannibal. The next morning, Ben unties her and forces her into his boat, pushing off into the fog. He shatters her remaining illusions, revealing that her arrival was never a coincidence. "The second you signed your name on that ranger station registry, I was already hunting you online," Ben taunts. An elite mountain climber who suddenly quit after her husband accidentally fell to his death? What really happened up on that cliff, Sasha? "It was an accident," she snaps, her voice trembling. Ben smiles, twisting the knife of her survivor's guilt. "Tommy was a master climber. A man like that doesn't just slip. You killed him, didn't you? You let him drop." Sasha locks up, unable to speak as the psychological torture tears her apart. But while Ben is distracted by his own twisted monologue, Sasha's eyes lock onto a heavy, sharp metal rod lying on the floor of the boat. Slowly, silently, her fingers edge toward it. But Ben catches her in the act, and once again, Sasha pays a brutal price for her bad luck. With zero mercy, he throws her into the water and binds her to the back of the boat with a rope. For the rest of the journey, he drives forward, dragging her helpless body underwater through the rough currents. Battered by jagged rocks and unable to control her movements, she is violently pulled along by the speed of the engine. By the time they reach their final destination, Sasha is physically broken and barely breathing. Ben drags her into a dark, suffocating cave, and the sight inside utterly shatters her mind. The missing hikers from the ranger station posters are all here, dead, stripped naked, and hung from the ceiling like cattle. Their bodies are covered in heavy layers of salt. Ben is curing human meat to sell as jerky. A wave of pure horror hits Sasha as she realizes the meat she bought and ate at the store wasn't animal flesh. It was human. Nausea takes over, and she violently vomits. As she weeps, Ben casually explains his twisted philosophy. "Our tribe believes that if you love someone's soul and want to keep it forever, you must eat their liver. To keep my mother's soul with me eternally, I killed her first and consumed her liver." He points to her preserved body, exposing the true depth of his madness. "You have an incredible soul, Sasha. No one has ever given me a hunt this challenging. I want your soul, so I am going to kill you and eat your liver." He bares his teeth, filed and sharpened into razor-like fangs, and steps forward with a hunting knife. As he leans in to slice her open, Sasha channels her inner animal, violently biting down on his ear. Screaming in agony, Ben recoils, and Sasha snaps her restraints, sprinting toward the water. She dives into the river, but realizes too late that her rope is still anchored to Ben, who is plunging in right behind her. Desperate, she smashes the rope against a sharp underwater stone, cutting herself free. Sasha swims frantically for her life, while Ben is swept over a roaring waterfall, cracking his head on a boulder and floating up unconscious. Sasha spots his limp body and grabs a heavy stone, ready to bash his skull and end it. But suddenly, Ben's eyes snap open. He tackles her onto the shore, wrapping his hands around her throat. Sasha gasps for air, staring death in the face, when unexpectedly, Ben hesitates. Driven by some twisted whim of his ritual, he releases her and tries to revive her. Sensing a final opening, Sasha uses the distraction to shove him off, grabs a massive rock, and breaks his leg with a sickening crunch. Ben screams in agony, completely immobilized. Sasha tries to flee, but after a few agonizing steps, her battered, exhausted body gives out, and she collapses into the dirt. Night falls, leaving the hunter and the prey lying just feet apart in the dark. Ben clutches his knife tightly, realizing the power dynamic has completely flipped. He is now the one trapped. Breaking the silence, Sasha begins to speak, forcing him to listen. "You want to know about the day my husband died? It was my obsession that kept us on that cliff. When the storm hit and we dropped, his lifeline was in my hands. I didn't know if he was alive or dead, but to save myself, I let the rope go. I still don't know if I murdered him, but the guilt has been eating me alive." At dawn, Sasha lays out a cold, calculated deal. "Look up. That vertical cliff face is the only way out of this jungle in minutes. I can't climb it alone in this state. If you help me scale it, it'll let you live. If you refuse, I can wait. Your leg is severely infected. You'll be dead soon anyway." For the first time, genuine fear flashes in Ben's eyes. He agrees, but on one condition. "Promise you won't drop me like your husband." Sasha agrees, and they begin the grueling vertical ascent. But she doesn't trust a monster. Mid-climb, she begins tampering with her harness to cut him loose. Sensing the shift in the rope, Ben violently yanks her line, leaving her dangling in the air. "Try that again, and I drop you to your death," he growls. Sasha fakes innocence. "You misjudged me. I was just adjusting my gear. Let me climb and I'll get us both out." As they climb higher, Sasha hits the exact same bottleneck point. The brutal, terrifying overhang that she could never conquer in Norway. Her ultimate weakness. She pauses, gathering her strength. Feigning exhaustion, she anchors her main harness tightly to a sturdy tree root growing out of the cliffside and begins loosening the slack on Ben's line. She is rigging a trap to drop him into the abyss. But down below, Ben looks up, his eyes locking onto her movements. Realizing her play, a psychotic grin spreads across his face as he prepares to yank her down into the void with him. But before he can yank her line, Sasha strikes first. With cold, calculated precision, she detaches his harness from the anchor point. Ben's eyes widen in sheer terror as his grip slips, and he plunges down into the rocky abyss, dying the exact same way her husband did. The monster is gone. Sasha sits back against the cold rock face, gasping for air, her heart hammering against her ribs. But her relief is short-lived. Ben took her safety harness down with him into the void. She is completely unprotected. If she slips now, she dies. But stripped of her safety net, a raw, primal survival instinct takes over. It's the exact fuel she needed. Pushing through the agonizing exhaustion, she digs her bleeding fingers into the stone and conquers the deadly overhang that had haunted her for years. Reaching the summit, she collapses onto the solid ground, weeping as a tidal wave of emotions hits her. The rush of victory, the high of overcoming her greatest weakness, and the pure euphoria of staying alive. She is battered, but she is free. Dragging her bruised body through the final stretch of the woods, her luck finally turns. A passing vehicle spots her limping onto the main road, and she is rescued. Back at the ranger station, Sasha exposes the horrific truth about the wilderness. She guides the authorities straight to Ben's cavern of horrors, revealing the grim fate of every single missing hiker. The dark mystery that had plagued the valley for years is finally solved, allowing the victims' families to finally find closure. As the sun sets over the coast, Sasha stands at the edge of the water. She pulls out Tommy's lucky compass, looks at it one last time, and drops it into the deep ocean, letting go of the crippling guilt that had kept her anchored to the past. Armed with a life she fought tooth and nail to reclaim, she turns her back on the shadows, ready to finally move forward. And with that final act of survival, the screen fades to black. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Feel free to check out my other videos as well. You might find something you love.